See, my mother had arthritis in her fingers like that. And of course, when we were kids, we think, oh, well, I'll be like Mum one day. I'll have knots on my fingers. And they're horrible. But I don't wear rings because my hands are, well, you can see the peasant's hands. Yeah, I'm a peasant. A dinky-die peasant.
I really have no idea what I'm going to talk about today. If you read this week's post,
Grandma's hand,
you will know by now that a giant has passed.
I'm not common as the way I behave. I'm just ordinary.
My grandma, who was 99 years of age, which is a glorious innings, to use a cricket term. Not sure if she ever watched cricket. So I'm in a little bit of a pickle here because I usually begin each one of these episodes by saying, oh, the inspiration for this week's post was... And what do I say for this one? The inspiration was my grandma died. It's a little dark, but maybe it's good to talk about why I wrote the post in the first place. And that is that I wanted you to know my grandma seen through my eyes. Well, through my memories, really. So it's a post about memory. And we can talk about memory. As I mentioned in the post, she told me quite regularly she almost died the day I was born. Baby. Which sounds like an exaggeration, but turned out to be true. She was in the hospital. So while I obviously have no memory of that, it does make me think about, okay, if she had died when I was born, I would have none of these memories. I would not have not been able to write this post at all. I would not remember the feel of her hugs. She was a supreme hugger. She was a bit giggly, I think. Just a cheeky little smile and a little giggle. She had, by all accounts, somewhat of a temper, but as a granddaughter, I never witnessed that, or if I did, I've suppressed it. That's really not the relationship we had, me and my grandma. Her and my mum both had the same name, Margaret McRae. I mean, my memories of her are a granddaughter's memories, being spoiled. Super cuddly. The whole tucking me in thing that I mentioned in the post about how she used to really tuck those blankets in and you'd be lying there rod straight, just tight under the bedclothes on purpose. I'd let her do it to me. Then she'd tuck it in around the neck and then she would just be like raspberries everywhere. Me giggling. Can you imagine little me? Baby. Giggling like a crazy person? Of course you can. I'm not that different. Grown up. She lived in that house in Bendemeer for something like 65 years. 65 years in the same house. And I mean, up until recently, she was still living in that house. Like, some of the features of that house changed over time, obviously. Little add-ons. The original garage on the house was my grandpa's painting studio. But he died when I was still in high school. So from that point on, she was very independent in that house.
And we do the best we can with our lives. Mm-hmm. You can't do any better than that.
She loved to play the organ. I think she played it in church even. But when I was a little kid, you used to have to sit on the very edge of the stool so that you could reach the pedals on the bottom of it as well as the keys if you wanted to. It was more of a toy for me. I just liked the switches and making the different noises. And I think when it wasn't in use, she would cover it with something crocheted. I just seem to have that in my memory. I don't know if that's true. You know how memory is not real. Distorts everything. There are elements of truth, but it's always got like an edge, a shine on it that maybe wasn't there. She used to do this thing where she'd be humming. Always trying to get me to sing. Come on, sing. Oh, I don't like to sing.
I had 4 bypasses.
You got a pacemaker now?
Oh, I've got my 3rd pacemaker. I won't get any more because they last 8 years. But yeah, I'm the bionic woman. I've got wire all through my chest. You can feel it. There's a bit sticking out there. I'm wired for sound.
You are. I have to say, one of the things I think of when I think about a 99-year-old woman, almost 100-year-old woman, the thing she lived through. Wars. She worked in a factory during the Second World War with her sister. Technologies. Loved her computer and printer combination. Would make a lot of cards, a lot of clip art things, which is great when you see an elderly person just take to something like that. absolutely loved to drive. Like, that was a key component of her independence, and was extremely mad when they took her license away from her. I think we were all quite glad when they took her license away because, did I mention the macular degeneration? She couldn't see very well. She got around a lot. Very independent lady. Sassy too. Did I mention she was sassy? Whew. I think a lot about how we honour people when they pass on. How we can honour people. You know, it's somewhat easy for me because I can just write, like I wrote this week. But if you don't write and you don't have an outlet to express what someone meant to you, how can you honour them? And I think you can honour them by attempting to be that version of you that they see. Like, I think another way to honour her would be to continue to live my life as that version that she saw of me, which was like always curious, always doing unexpected things, which whether or not that's true or not doesn't really matter. It's a tone, I guess. She wrote me a letter once, back when she could still see well enough to handwrite letters, or sometimes she put it all in a birthday card, which she used to send me a birthday card every year with like a $5 note in it, which doesn't work in America, Grandma, but you can't be told. She wrote something like, "You live such an adventurous life, I wish I knew you better," which is a wild thing to say. I wish I knew you better to your grandchild. But I think, you know, there was a distance between us in terms of two countries, a hemisphere, that she felt quite keenly, just not being able to like have a one-on-one and talk to each other and get to know me as an adult. I think that's what she was saying, knowing me as an adult, because I kept doing all these crazy things like, I don't know if I told you this, I rode across America. "Why do you like bikes?" she said to me once. It's a good question. Freedom. Just like you and your car, Grandma. I don't think I said that, but what a life. 99. Almost 100. She would have got a letter from the Queen. Well, the King. Not to sound disrespectful, but she would have loved outliving the Queen. She would have been tickled by that. I don't know if anyone told her that the Queen died. She did not like the Queen.
Of course, they were known as blue bloods. Mm-hmm. But they're no better than us. They've got more money and they're more notorious. But they're just people, same as us. I reckon I'm just as good as the Queen. And she's just as bad as I am.
Oh, Grandma. I think they were only 2 years apart in age. Grandma did outlive her. Vale Grandma, which is an interesting side note. Apparently Australians are a rarity in saying Vale instead of RIP when someone of importance passes on to the other side. It just means farewell in Latin, I believe. Either way, my grandmother was a God-fearing woman, and I hope she is exactly where she expected to be, and that some people are there, or some spirits are there, on for a good yarn. And speaking of yarn, I hope there's plenty of wool for her crochet. I hope there are oodles of books of unfilled in Sudoku. She loved Sudoku. And cryptic crosswords. What a pistol. What a life. What a lady. Vale, Grandma, I love you. I hope you enjoyed my little eulogy to my grandma. If you want to hear me read that to you, it's somewhere around here. I'm currently walking to get Dunlap's Donuts, which is a Santa Cruz legend. My grandma would have loved Dunlap's. What do you think the best way to eulogize someone is? If you can't be at their funeral because you have passport problems. Until next we meet, I shall see you on the flip side.